This is our office in front of one of our buildings. And we did this tour of 10 of our buildings 2 years ago, I think it was. And then afterwards, we had a vote among us, which was the worst building and which one was the best building. And we were, me and Jonas, who designed most of the things, very proud of this building. But it got the lowest vote. That's terrible in a sense. But we're a very corporate firm. We are 170 people, and most of them are actually in their 30s, as you can see. Very relaxed, smoking. And I also value very much this sort of environment that we discuss things all the time. And people are fairly critical. See if that's moving. I thought I should show, I will go deeper into that building that were rated as low as it was, but I just thought that I show a few projects that we actually have done in Stockholm, what is doable in Stockholm. This is a hotel tower. It's the second highest building in Stockholm, and it's magic movement, this trick. I didn't catch it on the YouTube, but there were 2 base bungee jump from this building. I think that's interesting because you don't really anticipate how buildings will be used. But it's fun. And we think it's fun also that the most characteristic point of it is the extended top. I think that's in a way makes the building. And we allowed in a plan for doing something because we had a very dynamic design of the gables, but in the end it was just a simple straight tower. Our client was very strong, but our client was also depending on a bank, and the bank said the building is too small for the loan that you have. That's how we got the top. That's how aware our design sometimes is. For the same client, when we did the first tower, he said, now you can't do a glass tower once more. It's too uneconomical. You have to do a concrete sandwich construction building. So this is what we came up with. It's a very simple tower with 3 different round circles creating the pattern, as you see in the background, which was derived from a very minimal sculpture, essentially. And this is the final of the 3 Stockholm buildings. This is just finalized now. To me, very inspired by 3 times Nilsson. When we saw the Saxo building and triangle glass, we got carried away. And we added gold, because gold is very un-Swedish, and we like to be un-Swedish when we can. This is a lecture theater for 1,000 persons. So it's fairly close to what we're doing for the Nobel Prize ceremony in that competition too. And that's to be inaugurated later on. But this, coming back to the building, this was, I think, a bit to tell about the competition system of Sweden. It's in Jönköping, which is a fairly small town, but Sweden, fairly affluent country, are now building cultural houses in different spots. This is a very nice, like a Sydney Opera House place. And this is the competition. This is how it works. You all know that. There are, I think it was 150 architects that wanted to do this competition from the common market. 5 or 6 were selected. As usually, there were at least 2 Danes. This time we beat them. And this was our winning proposal. And this was the plan of our winning proposal. And it's very common in Sweden when you're at the prize award ceremony is that you get seated close to the general director, and you get salmon, you get boiled potatoes, and perhaps Hollandaise sauce and a glass of Chablis. You even get a refill on the Chablis, and then when you sort of start to end up your salmon, the general director leans towards you and says, "It's a very nice proposal you've done. Thank you, we won the competition, thank you. But it's too expensive." And that occurs every time we won a competition in Sweden, at least. And so this was the building as we won the competition. And then we were, 150 firms, and presumably we were the best one since we won the competition. But we had to shrink the building because that was 400 million or 40 million euros. And this was 35. And this was in the end 30. And this 30 building was shrunk. It got more condensed, the muscles got fitter, the fat got away. I think there was a lot of things that were beneficial in it, but it's still very much, I think, a Swedish process, and one sometimes has to design for this Swedish process. It was also a building that was designed to build, and that means that the architect does not necessarily have influence over everything. Slightly Altoesque, it sits with a foyer facing towards the west, which is because appropriate when you have a lot of things happening in the evening in the building. There was some rules how to engage the building. Of course, they were changed later on by the city. This was the way it was meant to be approached. Nobody really approaches the building this way. And inside, it's very romantic, Swedish, national romantic. It's a bit reminiscent of the woods, the setting sun. And it's a flight of stairs connecting people, lots of those things that we talked about. It turned out it was 5 scenes from the start. Now it's free, and it's a theater of 900 capacity with excellent access for disabled persons. That's something very, very high, held in high esteem in Sweden. And there's a black box, there is a theater, and there are some balconies and connecting spaces. Very nice workout for the layout for the workspaces. And very efficient, very tight building. Romantic, the main theater. It's a concert hall. It could have been designed in the 20s, perhaps. Quite sentimental. And the theater derived from the local artist, which nobody wants to touch in his own native city, John Bauer, into the colors of national, modern, romantic Swedish architecture, the black box. And of course, all the areas back behind the stage are very worked out. Daylit workspaces, rehearsal spaces, and of course the relaxed areas are extremely important. And the changing room for the artists performing here to relax, and the yellow light, very dear to us Swedes because we have so little of the sunshine. The main entrance was really the disabled entrance from the start. And the light, the orange glass. And collaborating with artists is part of how we build houses in Sweden. This time we worked with the glass artist Ingegerd Roman, who designed these lamps hanging in the main foyer. And we had a very nice collaboration about this. And she picked up the orange color, which was not part of the original scheme, but was something that every artist picked on. And the building was inaugurated. It was very happy. 30,000 people out of 70,000 in the small city turned up for the inauguration. And we had Charlotte Perrelli. You don't know who she is abroad, but she's very famous in Sweden, coming by helicopter onto the roof, singing something out of the Eurovision Song Contest, which was very appropriate. And this is inauguration day. But we still think that this is a fairly successful building in Sweden, because this is how it looks on a very desolate, empty, melancholic, Scandinavian, grey day. Thank you very much.